Hello everyone, and welcome back to Signs and Wonders Tarot. And today a very difficult topic, one quite a few of you have suggested that I read on. I myself have been wanting to read on it for a while, but it's a bit of a stomach churning topic. It's one that is very, very difficult to contemplate, and that is mass immigration. I'm calling it as a weapon of war. That is a title that I saw Craig Hamilton Parker use a while back when he was giving one of his psychic readings on the situation that the West is now facing. What some people call the Islamification of the West. I know it can be a bit of a triggering term, and this is a potential minefield that I'm walking into. So I first of all want to say, I want to make it very clear, I'm not looking here at the situation that's going on in Palestine, Israel, none of that, not looking at that. I'm looking at a cultural war that is going on in the West, where what seems like a silent army is arriving into the West, and a lot of the people that are showing up in the boats and however they're arriving are young men that seem to be being installed in the heart of Europe and bringing with them a very different ideology, fundamentalist ideology that's intolerant, that is very cruel, very dangerous, and that this is eroding Western values, Western freedoms, things that are absolutely part of Western cultural identity. And people are very suspicious of this, very worried about this, very worried about what this means for the West, where the West is headed. Is there a silent mass of people? They're not so silent now. I don't know why I keep saying silent, but I mean that it's a different kind of warfare. It's a cultural warfare where these people are installed in the heart of a culture and waiting to do things like, for instance, happened in Manchester a few days ago, the attack on the synagogue in Manchester. Those kinds of incidents are escalating and are striking fear into the heart of populations in the West who thought they were protected, but also just Westerners thinking, are we going to wake up one day and find that we're under Sharia law, that we're now ruled by the Taliban, that women have no rights, there's no religious freedom, there's no freedom of thought, freedom of speech, none of those things that are part of Western cultural identity, long fought for freedoms. And I do understand that the seed was sown a very long time ago, about 1,000 years ago, culturally. So I get that. I do understand that. But when someone called Jihad decides that he can attack a synagogue in the West, and there is this vast mass of support for him in the West, people are nervous, people are worried, people are wondering what exactly is going on and who's behind it and all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to do a past, present, future reading here now. And we're going to look at the situation in the West, what's going on and what's going on with this, let's call it Islamification. As I say, I know it's a bit of a tricky term, but it's the one that I suppose best represents what I'm talking about. This mass immigration, this completely different worldview that wants everyone to conform, everyone to sign up to that worldview, everyone to be under the thumb of a very, very repressive and very scary regime of fundamentalists for whatever reason. I know people are wondering why they're being let in, what exactly is going on. This is a starter reading. This is just a testing the energies. Interesting, the Emperor has shown up in reverse. There are more sinister spins on this topic that I'll be getting to, but I want to get this one out the way first of all, just to figure out where we are. culturally, so to speak. Hopefully we can get through this relatively peacefully, this reading. And in the comments, let's see where we are. This is past, present, future. This is the West over here. This is the mass immigration scenario on the left that's coming in, and I'll talk you through it. That's an interesting card to come out as our underlying energy. It's a Seven of Swords. In tarot, it's this kind of a sneaky energy, someone taking something and sneaking off with it. It's in reverse, and as I say, the seeds of this were sown a very long time ago, obviously with the Crusades, and that's my take on it anyway, that I'm just expressing here. And it's in reverse. So as I say, it has this feeling of what happened all that time ago is now coming in. It's coming back. It's coming around again. That's the underlying energy of this reading, and you might be very offended by that and very angry about that. That's fine. I'm just coming into this, as I always say, I'm coming into this as neutrally as I can. But that is a thought that's in my mind, and it's shown up with the Seven of Swords in reverse. I try and do these readings with prompts from up there. And that's the prompt. So take it or leave it. Heart of this reading. What is the situation that we are dealing with? And we've got the Ace of Cups, and it's in reverse. And the Ace of Cups is unconditional love. And that's interesting. I was reading an article, I think it was by Sarah Vine in the Daily Mail today. And she was talking about this situation that the West is now facing. And she was talking about Christianity as being, theoretically, it hasn't always practiced this. And again, you know, ancient grievances and ancient rivalries and conflicts and wars here. It's supposed to be about unconditional love, isn't it? That's the message of Christianity. The message that is coming in with this very different spin is the opposite of love. It's intolerance. It comes across as cruelty. She and I don't always agree with what she writes. It was just an interesting take on things. The levels of cruelty that have been going on under this very fundamentalist take on Islam, and I know that there are expressions of Islam that are not like this at all, that are not fundamentalist. It's the fundamentalism that is so scary and so intolerant and so not loving, so cruel. There it is. That's what people are most concerned about. If they came in peace, if the expression of their religion was a beautiful flowering of culture and civilization, which at some point it has been, very much so. When we were going through our dark ages in the West, that's the problem. That's at the heart of the issue, is the cruelty, is the intolerance, the coldness, the lack of just unconditional love that we all supposed to be expressing. That's our challenge down here on planet Earth. Okay, enough preaching. Let's get to the past. This is, there we go. What's between, and this is the West over here. And in the past, okay, the West was up. The West was dominant, absolutely. Good old colonialism, going around, taking territories. It was very powerful. It was expanding. The Wheel of Fortune is Jupiterian energy, which is very expansive, and is also philosophy and religion, Jupiter, Christianity, spreading it around with that expansive energy. Good times rolled, and good times rolled for a long time. And here on the side of Islam, and I'm talking about the fundamentalist aspect of Islam, let's make that very clear. We've got the Four of Swords, and the Four of Swords is a card of defeat. And it's in reverse, and this is wounds that are unhealed. There, it's very much that epoch that I'm referencing here with the Seven of Swords, this knight who's there, who's defeated, who's resting, who's in repose, reflective energy, a healing energy, a transition kind of an energy, but it's in reverse, not being able to heal, not being able to recover from wounds that have been bitter wounds. So what's between them? And we've got such an interesting card, the Strength card, and it's in reverse, and there's a lion in there. And of course there was a lion heart all those years ago, centuries ago. It's dominance. The Strength card in reverse is dominance that feels unfair. It's about courage when it's upright, and bravery and open-heartedness, and open-heartedness is the thing that I'm stuck on. It's in reverse. There's some feeling of bullying and dominating for the sake of dominating. So the past is problematic, and of course the past is problematic, which is why we have now. So let's move on to now and see what we're dealing with. We're dealing with on the fundamentalist side, yeah, and we're dealing with on the Western side. So here comes the World card, which is a takeover energy. As expansive as this Wheel of Fortune was in the past for the West, this is now, we are going out and we are spreading far and wide as we can spread our message of fundamentalism. We are going to spread it. We are going to spread it everywhere. It's domination kind of energy, and it's got a bit of an end time vibe, that World card, because the World is the end of the major arcana in tarot. It's the last card of the major arcana, so it's like a marker in time, in space and time. We've now arrived at the end, and someone has asked me to actually read on whether we are in the end times, and I'm going to get there. That is that kind of energy for me. As now we are going to triumph. It's our turn to triumph, and here we are at the end. It's very, very powerful energy that's in there. And interestingly, the World is usually the woman in the heart of the tarot card is normally unclothed, shall we say. I've had to clothe her for the sake of YouTube. That's interesting just in itself, that the woman has had to hide herself and be clothed. So we know what's between this lack of love, this lack of mercy and forgiveness and all that stuff. The West has got the King of Swords in reverse, and this is a very interesting and a very tricky card, because it's a card of leadership and strategy, wise leadership and strategy, and it's in reverse. Western leadership is all over the place. It's not giving the right message. It's very military, the King of Swords as well, and it's in reverse. Defenses are down. It's open. Hello, do come in. We're not going to stop you. We're not going to challenge you. We're not going to deport you. We're not going to enforce law and order. You can run rampant and we don't mind. Why? Is it because it's just weak leadership? The West is now so depleted that it can't find decent leaders to represent people. Are we there at the end of Western culture? Is it that bad? Or is it more sinister? And I'm getting a more sinister energy in that King of Swords in reverse. I'm getting strategy that is secret, that is acting against its own interests with that King of Swords in reverse, acting against the electorate's interests, the people's interests with that King of Swords. I don't like that energy at all. If you want to be suspicious about what's going on, go mad with this energy, King of Swords. It's there in the energy for me as an energy reader. So let's move on to the future and how's this going to play out. The West here might close borders with the Three of Wands in reverse. That's open and expansive energy, and there are the ships and watching and waiting, and do come in because somehow you're expressed as positive, maybe just because you're bringing in population. The West population is falling off a cliff, and a lot of people say, oh well, it's just about population dynamics and we need young people into the West, blah blah blah. There's that theory. I'm getting that the gates close on the side of the West, and they close very much so. A very interesting energy, not what I would have expected, between Devil in reverse. Devil is the level of the toxicity, the boogeyman, the scaring, what is coming into our midst. How dangerous is it? Do we need to be afraid? Very afraid. And it's in reverse. And on this side is such a surprising card, the Empress. Because the Empress is soft, feminine energy. And I'm getting a wave of emotion as I say that, because I think we're going to go through very hard times. I think that there is a gap between here and here. This card, the Empress, tells me something very strange. It tells me that women might be the force that stops this. That stops this poison that's in the Devil. And that's why the Devil is in reverse, finally. I think we've got a long way to go to there. I think that this reading has left out a whole chapter of stuff, but I'm hoping I'm wrong about that. That's my sense of it. This is an extraordinary card. Absolutely extraordinary. There is nothing toxic about that Empress. It's the divine feminine. It's sacred femininity. The whole point of why people are so afraid of this, is because of how women are treated in this culture. Not only women, obviously, but its most stark expression is in the way women are treated, stoned to death and whatever, terrible things. This is such a different energy. And I can only imagine that women in certain countries are going to actually take a stand against this. Mothers and wives and daughters, and so we're done with this. This is not how things are meant to be. Things are meant to be quite different. I'm really, really shocked by this. And at the heart of this expansion is a woman. There is a sinister twist which we need to look at, and we will do another reading. We will be looking at the Antichrist energy a little bit in this context, based on what someone has seen, a seer has seen. But this is a don't despair reading. Things are bad. Things were bad. Things started off badly. Yeah, they started off badly. But there are signs that they could end much better than we imagine right now. And I so hope that that is true. The energy that's coming through this reading is coming from the right place and is reading true. That is the reading. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.